Okay, so you were just telling me. I figured we record this since we were talking about
Okay.
it. Because we're talking about. You were just saying that you were thinking about you were learning how to harmonize on the guitar, and I was telling you thirds and fifths is the best way to go. And you were saying,
Oh, I just started learning a little bit about it with Joe before he moved away,
right?
and I guess when we started recording, the last song we recorded before he left was "I'll Wait for You," and
Go ahead.
I'm sorry,
No. I'm sorry. I didn't interrupt you.
I guess he was doing it. I was playing acoustic, and then he came up with some really cool stuff, and how it harmonizes. He said, "Yeah, that works with the thirds and fifths," and I didn't understand. He tried to explain it to me. It's a lot of like with music theory, I guess. Does that sound right?
It is music theory. I mean, if you think about it, it's the way it works. It's real easy. It sounds difficult, but it's actually pretty easy. So, like, you have 12 notes in a chromatic scale.
Yeah.
Okay, C sharp, D sharp, E, F, so on and so forth. Thirds and fifths would be the count of notes between the root note and the next note up. So, for instance, G, the note G, not the chord, just the note. Just take the note. Okay, when you're looking at a guitar, a G note on the guitar would be on the lowest string, the sixth string.
The low E on the third fret.
On the third fret, that's a G. Okay.
And then fifth, fifth, G, A, D. Fifth on the D string is the octave higher.
Correct. But let's just stick with that first root note. Okay, so that G is the root note. 5 notes up from that is C. So there's G, which is 0. Okay. Then you have G sharp, A sharp, B, C.
Okay.
So a G and a C note sound good together because that's the fifth of that note. Okay. A G and a C chord also sound good together. So when you play a lot of songs, G and C go together.
Okay.
They just do.
Technically, well, this is why I was looking at, like, I'm a visual person, so you're looking at the fretboard when you're doing a power chord or a bar chord with a G in it, it's the E on the E string and the A string. You're doing G and C.
Well, you're doing G and D. On a G power chord, it's G,
oh,
D,
yeah,
C.
that's right. It's not like that.
D is the 7th note. So it would be G as the root, D as the 7th, and then G is the 12th, or the octave.
Yeah.
That's a power chord. But if you're looking to fully harmonize, you want to use 3rd, 5th, 7th, 12th. So, like, it's easy to look at a guitar and visualize it because guitars are set up whenever they're tuned, at least the lower 4 strings, they're set up so that they're 5 notes apart.
That's why they call them in fifths.
Correct. So, like, any note that you hit in one of those 4 strings, okay, whether it's a D on your A string or it's an A on your E string, the next string down on the same fret's going to be the 5th. So those two notes are going to harmonize.
Yeah, I have to see it visually.
Yeah,
I'm like I said, totally a visual person.
Yeah, and that's how you can figure it out visually by looking at your guitar as you're playing it. You can easily count just by kind of.
Do you know anything about like violins and mandolins? I think they're in fourths.
I own a violin. The way that it's tuned is actually like a bass guitar, but backwards.
I know that, but I'm just saying, I think they're set up in fourths.
It's still fifths.
Still fifths?
Yeah, on a violin it is because it's still E-A-D-G is how it's
yeah, but it's the high is the low.
The high is the low and the low is the high. But it's still the same 4 notes. Therefore, those notes are all fifths of each other.
Yeah.
Mandolin, I'm not sure, but I think a mandolin's tuned the same way.
Mandolin is the same exact thing.
But it's got 8 strings and it's fretless. They're doubled. Yeah.
It's frets. Violin is fretless.
Yeah. And yeah, that's correct. And also you have the octave strings on the mandolin. So
yeah, it's doubled up.
Anyway, we kind of just jumped into it. This is the Jeff Finch Experiment. I'm here with Chuck Teapole. Hello, Chuck.
Hey, what's up?
We were just in the middle of a discussion about harmonizing on a guitar, and I decided to hit the record button real quick because it was interesting.
Yeah. Oh, wait a second. Wait. Introduction music. Okay. I don't know. I really like that song. I wonder where it came from, though.
I'll bet.
He's a pretty good guitarist.
Chuck might know who made that song for us. So anyway, you've been playing a lot of guitar lately. Anybody who listens to this podcast remembers that you were on a couple months ago. It was like in November, I think it was. Early November, whenever you came on, we did a couple episodes. And you're in a band. At the time, was called the Martin Band, and now you have changed it to...
Yeah, well, there's a reason behind it. I mean,
Well, what's the reason? What happened?
Well, originally it was just me and Tina recording something,
Right.
and I was just gonna name it that because that's my middle name, Martin.
Oh,
Charles Martin.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Charles Martin. So I mean, like, what I was trying to do is make my own demo of my own stuff that I wrote. But when we found Josh, we just found a bassist, Josh Bergfeld, and he's just fantastic. I love him to death. He's a good dude, and I mean, on bass, he's phenomenal. He just compliments me very well, and he started doing vocals, and he does well. I mean,
Cool.
We recorded with something with Joe, my old friend. He moved away. I'm not going to say his last name. You guys, if you know who I am talking about, or you know who I am, you probably know who Joe is. It's one of my mentors. He was playing with us and he moved away. But we recorded a song called I'll Wait For You. And then it was pretty much done except for vocals. And I was like, I'm not going to sing this because I'll ruin it. I can do backups to a certain extent. And I'm loving the fact that somebody else is singing.
Yeah, that's good.
I know when you and I played in the little band upstairs, I struggled too. And so we got
Other people to come in and sing. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't mind doing backups. It was fun, singing. I love singing, don't get me wrong, but nobody really want to hear me sing. I'll be the first point. I mean, if I have to do it, I'll do it. Like if I'm sitting there and just a couple friends and just singing a song, yeah, I'll do it.
Some people have it, and some people don't. I mean, your talents are more towards the songwriting end and playing the guitar anyway.
Yeah, we're mostly rhythm. I'm getting better at the leads, so yeah. But what I was trying to get at is like that's why when we met Josh, we kind of like, okay, this is actually a band, a project.
Yeah, right. You actually have a full band now.
So, and I never thought that would happen. And we want more people to join us. And if anyone's out there listening who is interested, Brian Barsatini, please. So we need someone to play guitar. And I was thinking of actually having maybe a keyboardist. I think it would work well with some of the softer stuff that I write, acoustic stuff.
Have you ever tried to learn how to play the piano or the keyboard?
I took 10 minutes of it and I got really frustrated and I put it back down. I think what it is with me is since I have ADD, I have attention problems with it. So if I'm not actually within 10 minutes making any progression of anything,
here's something. This is a little off topic, but you mentioned ADD. I just recently read a study about ADD.
Yeah.
And it was basically the way it works is if people have trouble paying attention to something, usually it's because they're trying to pay attention to something that they're not completely interested in. However, if you're doing something that you are really interested in, that you like or love, it's a lot easier to pay attention to it.
Yeah, and that's what it is with the guitar playing.
Right.
I love it, but when it came to the keyboard, I'm like, I don't know, man.
Right, and like I understand because the piano is a frustrating thing to learn. I recently have been trying to learn it a little bit with lessons. I bought a MIDI keyboard to hook up my computer.
With keyboard though, it's better off that you actually know how to read the notes. And I think that's what started off like I don't know if I want to go that way.
I can read the notes. I know how to read music.
Well, that's great.
I'm just slow at it.
I wish I could know. I mean, I know what chords. Like, if you gave me a chord, I could play it on guitar.
Right.
Yeah.
But to actually sit down and read sheet music
for guitar, no.
I can. For the guitar, I can't do it.
Right.
I'm not fast enough at it.
And you know what? It's funny. It's like we're mentioning this right now. A lot of professionals do not know how to read a lick of note.
Right. They know how to either read tab or they have a really good ear.
Or they know what the chords are with enough to and make riffs. I mean,
and that's where I'm at too. Like I can listen to things and pick it up a lot of the time. But if you hand me sheet music, I can't play it to read. I can read it and then I can sit down and transcribe it in my head and it takes forever, but I can't just sit down in front of a piece of music and read it and play as I'm reading it. I can't do it anymore. When I was in a band when I was in school.
Yeah.
I could do it then. Playing the trumpet, I could do it. But to do it, I've tried many times to do it with guitar. I'll download sheet music or something for free on the internet and look it up and be like, oh, okay, I could try this. And I'll just struggle.
Oh, yeah. You miss your trumpet sometimes?
Not at all. No, I haven't played one. It's been over 20 years since
That's
I
so
played
funny because my drummer Tina, her husband Aaron, she just bought him for his birthday a saxophone.
Nice.
He hasn't touched a alto sax since high school, and he was so excited when he got it. He opened the package and he's like, "Oh my gosh!" He was really into it. So actually, he was a little embarrassed because he hasn't touched it. I was like, "Well, go play it." And, he's like, "Yeah, I'm going in the other room first." So he went outside on the porch and was sitting there,
probably squealing and making bad noise. And he was getting used to it. Yeah,
he was tinkering for about half an hour, and he had to do some other stuff. But I told him, Aaron, if you get more comfortable with it, you can come down and jam with us just for the fun of it. It'd be fun, have some brass section.
Saxophone complements rock and roll music really well.
There's Pink Floyd songs that have a lot of
old rock tunes.
Yeah.
I mean, even like all that bebop, doo-wop music from the 50s and early 60s all had saxophones in it,
Bob Seger
was big for a sax. The Rolling Stones have a sax player. In fact, they have a whole horn section that plays with them live. Yeah. They do a lot of songs that have,
I think they use a lot of the blues style, infuse the blues with the horns and the brass section into the rock and roll, and that's how it meshes.
A horn section plays blues well.
Yeah.
I mean, you listen to any of the big band blues guys like B.B. King and all that. Yeah. They all have band sections.
B.B. King. I'm God rest his soul. I wish I could have seen him.
I was very lucky to see him live.
Brian told me he saw him. Oops. You're going to have to. Well, anyway, no. Brian said he saw him, and all he did was talk a lot. And he was in his 80s, man.
Yeah,
he didn't play much because he couldn't physically probably do, but he sang a lot.
When I saw him, it was in 2002, I think. And he kept saying, like, he did talk between songs, but he kind of told stories. Mm-hmm. And it served the music. I mean, he still played like 12 songs or something.
Yeah.
And he kept saying, "I'm 78 years old. I think I deserve to sit down. What do you think?" And everybody would be like, "Yeah," and he'd be sitting on stage, and then he'd rip into a tune and just kill it. I mean, shredding it.
I mean, he was
still
a master.
had it at that point.
He was a master.
He was so good.
Yeah.
And it was an interesting show because, he told stories. He introduced his band individually. Yeah. So between each song, he would introduce, like, he'd be like, this is the horn section. This is, so-and-so on sax and this guy on trombone. And they'd come out and they'd play a little, little part real quick. Yeah. Very old school showman-like, but it was highly entertaining. And I had a couple chances after that to see him again. There were a couple other times he came back to Pittsburgh and I didn't do it. And then he passed away about a year, maybe 2 years ago, and now I'd never get to see him again.
I tell you what, I kind of really didn't. I mean, I appreciated some of his music, but just in the recent 2 years after he died, I mean, it's kind of sad. You listen to an artist, take him for granted, and when that artist is gone, it's kind of like you start listening to his music. Yeah. I mean, I did that. A lot of people did it, but I know you probably don't like his music. Is Michael Jackson, MJ?
I love Michael Jackson.
Really?
Music,
I mean, his old stuff. His old stuff. Not as like, really like
late 70s, 80s stuff. Like I'm not into Jackson 5 so much, but like the Thriller album,
Thriller
Off the
and
Wall,
Bad. Yeah, those three.
Those are amazing.
The top three. And then when he did Dangerous or whatever, it started going downhill.
Well, that's when he started kind of getting weird, like personally too.
Yeah,
his skin started whitening, and he started acting strange.
Yeah, that was some other physical attributes.
But it all came it all happened at the
same time.
His mental state started to decline at that point.
Yeah.
And then, some years later, it was found out that he had, started getting into like taking pain medication.
I think
and all that stuff.
Yeah, it had to been the drugs.
It was all a
just
bunch
like
of different
Keith
things.
Richards was acting foolish and weird stuff too. But I mean, he was always foolish and weird. But with all the drugs that he did and all the stuff that's what drugs do to you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Keith Richards was fortunate enough to get off the drugs.
Yeah, and I mean that's why you don't take them unless they're prescribed, and it'll kill you. And
even when they're prescribed, they're bad.
Yeah,
and
you gotta be watched.
This is a conversation that we probably shouldn't have right now because it's gonna. I can talk all day about drugs.
Yeah,
but just shortly, prescription drugs is a plague in this country. It absolutely is. I'm not talking about antibiotics or anything. I'm talking about opiates.
Yeah, you're talking about the
painkillers and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, because there have been a couple of times when I've had like oral surgery and stuff where I was given painkillers.
Yeah.
And I am not a drug addict by any means. I mean, I might be addicted to caffeine. That's about it.
Yes, you are. You're a horrible, horrible crackhead.
Yeah, you're right. I do enjoy schmuck to crack here and there. But, dude, I mean, I would take those for a couple of days, and I could feel myself getting depressed if I didn't take them. I mean, it grabs you that quick.
Yeah.
And, that's prescribed by doctors.
Yeah.
Doctors give you that stuff. And then when you're hooked on it, the doctor they love just keep writing those prescriptions. They don't give a shit if you're hooked on it. It makes more money for them.
Yeah.
Because when they're writing these prescriptions, they're getting a little bit of a kickback from that. You know what I'm saying?
I would like to speak on that a little bit too. My wife, she had trouble sleeping only because I was a snorer.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I have sleep apnea.
Okay.
So my wife, when we got married, she's like, this ain't happening. I'm not sleeping well, so we're buying an extra bed to put in the living room just in case I could just not feel
she can go out there and zonk out or whatever.
Yeah. So that wasn't working. So she's like, you know what? I'm going to start taking some sleeping pills. She took the over-counter ones. That wasn't working. So she went to the doctor and said, hey, I'm having a hard time sleeping. They gave her sleeping pills. That knocked her out.
Sleeping pills are also highly addictive.
That's what I'm trying to say. Get to. So she had them for a year. She was taking them for about a year, and then they wanted to slowly wean her off of it. And she was kind of fighting the whole time.
Yeah.
I love her to death, but she was being a little cranky about it, And the girl, she's like, I'm not sleeping, being emotional. I was like, okay, calm down, Rock. We'll try to get you on something so that you're not so bad. So we tried to do over counter. There's a vitamin or whatever. I forget what it's called. But it's an all-natural sedative, and it's not really a chemical like the sleeping pills that they give you now, which are highly, highly addictive. And it helped wean her off of it. She still takes a little bit over-the-counter drug here and there, and I stopped snoring when I got a CPAP machine. So.
Yeah, oh, you got one of those machines now? That's what the full face mask and everything, right?
Well, not full fast. It just goes over your nose. It's just like like a snout. It goes over your snout. I don't know how, and there's a hose connected to it, and the machine pumps air through it, a gentle air pressure to it, and that way it opens up your airways through your nose. You have to keep your mouth shut the whole time, or the air will go.
That would be my problem because I sleep with my mouth wide open.
And that's the thing. I had to learn. You had to learn to close your mouth, to keep your mouth sealed, kind of like put your tongue against your roof of your mouth, so it just keeps it closed. And after a while, I mean, you get used to it and it's like a normal thing.
So, how long have you been doing the? How long have you had the machine?
I'd say since last fall, about a year. Fall, almost a year. I'll tell you what.
Made the difference, huh?
You don't even know, man. It was bad. I was at work, and I was falling asleep, and I'm in security. I'm in security. I'm sitting there.
That's not good to be the security guy falling asleep.
Right. And I'm over there snoring.
Yeah.
Because I snore, and I'm like... And if someone would have walked in, I would have got fired right on the spot.
Wow.
And, that's how it is, because you can't do that when you're...
Right, you can't sleep at work, on the job, especially if you're doing that line of work,
Yeah. So, I mean, it was so bad that I was falling asleep just in the middle of the day. I mean, I was in bed for 12 hours. On my day off, I get up, and me and Raquel would have breakfast, turn on TV, watch cartoons or whatever on Netflix, whatever, and just I sat there, took my shower, ate my breakfast, and I got back in the chair just to, just
wind down before you get ready to go to work or whatever, and then
and then I was starting on and off. It was bad. I had to do something about it. And my best friend, I've known him since 3rd grade, Scott. He says, "Hey, I have a machine you can have." He has a sleep apnea too, but he got the one with the mouthpiece. Yeah. He seems to like that better. I might eventually, when I get the money, I'm trying to save up to get a machine or the mouthpiece, whatever, and get that taken care of so I can give him this machine back.
Right.
But he said that I have the machine. You can have it. I got this mouthpiece. It'll work. So, oh, thank God.
So you sleep so much better now.
Oh my gosh, and a big difference. I'm telling you, big difference. I'm actually getting restful sleep. It was horrible.
I'll bet.
It was just, you don't realize how much your body needs and craves sleep. It's like God put us on earth to sleep about a third of our lives.
Yeah, that's what they say is the best for you.
And the funny thing is, it's like when you're asleep, your body is in a coma, literally in a coma, a different kind of coma. You are out of it. If something, I mean, it's mind-boggling how our bodies work like that for sleep.
It is crazy when you think about it. And like, what's weird is I don't understand why we need sleep. I really don't. Because like, yeah, you need to rest your body, okay? But you rest your body when you're awake all the time. I mean, you and I are sitting here in chairs. We are literally resting our bodies.
Yeah.
I mean, the only muscles we're using right now other than our brain is our jaw and, you using your arm to take a sip of your tea or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So technically we're at rest right now, but our body doesn't see it that way.
It's just a way where mentally it's all up here.
I guess. Well, it's not just us. I mean, it's all animals. All animals sleep,
Yeah.
So it's just one of those weird things.
It's kind of cool though. Like humans, I don't know about animals. Since we're kind of cognitive and very artistic, and just the way we're built, the dreams that we have.
Yeah, we're much more cerebral than animals are.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool because you get one of those cool dreams where you're actually flying, or you actually you're actually enjoying your dream.
Right. Or you like hit the lottery for $1 billion and you're out vacationing in your dream.
Or you're a teenager when you're a teenager kissing your first girl when you're in your dreams, it's pretty cool. It's just like
playing guitar in front of millions or something on stage. Yeah, those are the best dreams.
Again, like I said that earlier, you have to make me on stage with your green screen. We'll do that sometime.
Yeah, Chuck seems really interested in the green screen behind me. I'm not using it right now. I just have it up as a background. But
I think it'd be so fun. You can like find your favorite band and just shoot you on stage just the way it is with the video or whatever. It'd just be fun, just for fun to mess with it.
I've messed around with the green screen for like just for like images.
Yeah, I see like the Hulk Hogan one that you did.
Yeah,
was
something
that green
like that.
screen?
Yeah, where I had like I was like in a newsroom and I had like the newsroom background, and then there was another one I did where like I was talking about the TV show The Walking Dead, and I just had like the logo behind me.
And there was that one with the beer behind you, or the bar or whatever. You had a bar behind you, didn't you?
No, that was just like a photo I had for the thumbnail for a video.
Okay.
But like so far, I've just done it with still images.
Yeah.
Now the program that I use is the same program I'm using to record right now for the video. Also has. That's what I use for the green screen as well.
Yeah.
So I could plug in actual video behind it. Like if I have a video saved to my computer, like let's say like Alice in Chains. Like if I got a video of Alice in Chains playing on stage, and then I'm sitting in front of the green screen, and let's say I got my guitar and I'm making it look like I'm playing with, it'll it might not look the greatest. It might not look pro quality, but it'll work.
We'll have to do that for some just for the fun of it and make a silly video or something. That'd be fun.
When we're done, we'll just move all this shit out of the way and we'll do it. It'll be fun.
Insert here.
Right? That's exactly what it would be. And I have thought about like messing with video in the background more. I haven't done it yet, but like I work with a guy who he really wants to be internet famous. And like he has all these ideas for these really goofy, funny videos that he wants to make, but he doesn't have the motivation to actually do it. And I told him, I'm like, dude, if you want to do it, like put it together and we can film it. I'll help you. It'll be fun.
Was it that one friend you said like on the last podcast you did with Nick? You were editing. He didn't want to edit his videos.
No. That's my friend Joe.
Oh, a different guy.
Yeah. Joe has I'll just tell you.
He's probably a good dude. He's
a great dude. He's one of my best friends. But whenever I first got into the podcasting, it's been about a year now.
Yeah.
And I bought my first mic.
I remember the first one.
And when I first got this recorder that we're using, this thing right here, this thing's portable, so I could take it anywhere and record with it. Yeah. So me and Joe were at his house in his basement recording a podcast, the first one he had done with me, and just talking, just like we are now, just chatting for fun. And then I edited it and turned it into a podcast. He listened to it and he was addicted. He's like, that is amazing. I want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's cool. I was like, well, let's get together and do another one. So we did. Like him and Nick and I got together one day and we recorded.
You guys did one out on a back of a porch, I remember, or something. It was just vocals.
Yeah.
What was that, Joe?
No, I think he and I.
Or was that somebody else?
Oh no, that was my brother-in-law Ryan. It took me a minute to remember.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my wife's brother. He and I recorded a couple too.
Faces, so
No, that's all right. I don't think you've met Ryan, but yeah, he and I did one on the back porch one night at like 3 a.m.
Oh.
Yeah, we were hanging out. We went somewhere and we got back to his house.
Thing with you.
Yeah, and I had this thing with me, and he's like, "Dude, why don't we record one?" I'm like, "Okay." So we were talking about like movies and stuff, and he's like, "Let's just record us talking about it." And I'm like, "Okay." We turned it into a podcast. But yeah, Joe, he had kind of caught the podcasting bug. He was like, "Dude, I can do this. It'll be fun."
Yeah.
And instead of taking a few moments to realize all that needs to be done, like the recording, properly setting all your sounds and levels, making sure everybody's on par with, whatever we're going to talk about, hosting, which is more than just talking. Like, you have to host, you have to keep the conversation going, that sort of thing.
Yeah, not even that. There's a lot more to it, like the planning. It's just planning the show. The
planning is, like, the least thing. Because, like, right now, you and I sat down and I grabbed a piece of paper and a pen and I said, "Hey, what do you want to talk about?" And you're like, "Oh, my band. Cool. Oh, we had a discussion about copyrights and music. Oh, cool." So I wrote that down, and that's what we'll talk about. But what you don't see and what these people don't see is it took me an hour to set up these microphones, set up that camera, set this up, sit down and move my computer to where I needed it. I mean, there is a lot there.
Can I ask you this? How long does it on average? Well, I know you do an average show about an hour.
Yeah.
So how much time after it's all set and done with the recording process, about how long does it take you, if by minimum, to go through the editing and make it look to your par?
If I'm editing just the audio, it takes about twice as long as the length of the audio.
Really?
Yeah. So
wow.
if I'm doing just audio, okay, which the majority of my podcasts are audio only.
Yeah.
I only started the video thing recently.
Do you still put the audio on YouTube, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But what I've been doing, I've been adding video lately. So I've been doing the audio and video on cool. YouTube, and then the audio alone on Podbean.
Yeah.
Podbean's an app that lets you record and listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
And so I load them up on there, and then I have the feed from that podcast sent to iTunes and Google Play.
Okay, cool.
So people who use those, because more people use that than they use Podbean. Yeah, everybody has iTunes on their iPhones. Gosh,
it's like that's Apple for you.
Yeah, but everybody who has an Android phone, like one of these, has Google Play, which is the same thing as iTunes, basically. So that gives me a broader audience. So yeah, so if I'm doing just audio, it takes me about twice the length of the podcast. So if it's a 1 hour podcast, it takes me about 2 hours to edit because I have to listen to an hour's worth of content plus the time it takes
make your notes and then
make a note, split clips and cut stuff, move and adjust, add in the music or adjust volumes, adjust EQ. I do all that because I try to make it as good as possible. And I'm still learning how to get better at it too. Like, I'm not a professional.
I gotta say this: I've seen from when you start to now, it's gotten so much better.
I think so too, and thank you.
That's a big compliment.
I appreciate that.
And your own graphics, and I'm not trying to make my head big, but I think when you started adding a theme song and started putting the graphics together and putting all that stuff,
there was a lot more. Yeah, it was because I listen to professional podcasts all the time. Okay, there's a few specifically that I listen to almost every day, like in the car, or whatever. I listen to Joe Rogan Experiment all the time.
I've watched him. I watched him when he did with Leah Reme.
Yeah, the Scientology episode they did recently. Man, that was some crazy shit there.
Yeah, I mean, being a believer in Jesus Christ, that kind of gets under my skin because of the stuff that they. I mean, it's a total different religion.
Scientology is whack. It's completely whack.
It's total false. It's false. But I'm just saying it kind of gets under my skin because I know they're leading people away from the true God that I believe in.
They're leading people away from whatever it is.
And their family, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everything. But, okay.
That's a different discussion.
Yeah.
Scientology is stupid. But anyway, I listen to, like, him, and then there's an educational one that I like a lot called Stuff You Should Know.
Okay.
And then there's other various ones. Like there's a video game one I listen to. They make a new one like once a month, so I listen to it when it comes out. And I've noticed a lot of similarities between these podcasts because these podcasts get millions and millions of downloads every single episode. Joe Rogan, for example, does like 4 to 5 per week, and he gets 4 to 5 million per episode.
You I know what what I noticed about it's 3 hours long.
Yeah, he does a very long form podcast, and that dude is very smart. Like Joe's a very well read guy, and he has top notch guests. Okay, that is stuff that I can't get Bill Nye or Neil deGrasse Tyson or somebody like that. But what I can do is I can have a theme song. I've noticed I could sort of have a certain way of doing it every time. What I mean by that is making sure that I have everything set up and ready to go when my guest gets here. Making sure that everybody's as comfortable as possible when they're here. When you're just sitting on my couch talking to me, it's much more comfortable than it would be if, say, we're both sitting on the floor or standing up or sitting on the porch or something. I mean, we're in a pretty comfortable situation.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that makes for a higher quality conversation because it's easier for you and I to just chat than it would be for us to like nervously sit in front of a camera and nervously talk into a microphone. You know what I mean?
That has a lot to do with it. Cave.
Right, we're in my man cave. We got lights on. We're hanging out. There's guitars hanging on the wall. There's beer in the fridge if you want one. I mean, it's a comfortable situation. So that's something I noticed with like Joe Rogan, for example. It's a comfortable situation. Those guys sit around and they drink beer and they BS like friends do.
He was over there smoking pot.
They smoke a lot of pot too. Yeah, those guys are into that. But what I mean is, if I can make little adjustments like that to my setup and to my podcast,
you'll get a lot more out of it.
I'll get more out of it. I'll get better recordings. I'll get better audio. I'll get better feedback from people who were listening and watching because they're like, oh, hey, that's really cool that, Jeff has this really comfortable situation. And it makes people want to podcast with me. Yeah. So I'll get, like messages on Facebook from people like, hey, man, let's get together and do a podcast sometime. Like Brian. Brian, he never, ever approached me about doing a podcast. Mm-hmm. And then one day I mentioned to him that I wanted to do one. And I just explained to him, I was like, dude, we just sit on my couch in the basement and talk in front of a mic. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, that's all there is to it. Bam, he was here the next day, and we recorded. Seriously, it was the next day. I saw him on Saturday. I invited him over, and he was here on Sunday.
He's such a good dude.
He is. So, that's... To get back what we were talking about with my friend Joe, he didn't know any of this, and I tried to explain some of it to him. But he was just like, I want to record, I want to talk, I want to record, and then I want to put it online. I'm like, that's cool. He went and bought all this equipment. He bought a recorder similar to mine for like $250. He bought microphones just like the ones we're talking into. He bought a couple of them, cost him a couple $100.
Yeah, he put some money into it.
He put some money into it. And like, he didn't get secondhand used stuff like I did. Yeah. He went and bought new, and that's fine. That's great,
if you can afford it, if you want to do
that. Yeah, I'm not hating. His wife was a little mad at me because she thought that I was like feeding him like, you need to buy this, man. Go get this. No, it wasn't like that. Like he would ask my advice.
I wish I had that kind of money for my equipment that I need. Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, guitar equipment and PAs and stuff.
Not cheap.
Oh, you not kidding. Cheap. We really are in dire need of some new PA speakers and monitors.
And that's many hundreds of dollars for that stuff. So he went and bought all this equipment, and then he would set up he had Nick over a couple of times, Nick Lewis, and because him and Nick are buddies too, and they recorded a couple things, but it never got edited, never got released.
Oh, really?
Joe, I tried to teach him how to edit. Like I had him download this free program called Reaper that I use. It's kind of like Audacity, but it's a little more. There's a little more to it.
Is it meant for podcasts or is it meant for?
It's meant for music and everything, anything.
Okay.
And it's got like virtual instruments and EQ and all that stuff built in, sort of like Audacity does.
Do you like that better than Audacity?
Fucking love it. It's so much better.
Really?
After the podcast, I'll pop it up on the screen here and let you take a look at it. It's easier to look at. It's more pleasing to the eyes. It works very easy. It has a lot of easy shortcuts on the keyboard to use. I love it. It's free. I showed him how to use it. I showed him how I, listen to the podcast. I make a cut and try to cut out coughs and ums and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. He did it once and was like, this sucks. I don't like doing this. I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh, wow.
So he's got all this equipment sitting in his basement. And I'm like, oh, you just need to. That was
what
a bad decision.
Kind of microphones does he have?
He has the exact same mics that we're talking into right now.
What are these, PVs?
No, these are Audio Technica.
Okay.
ATR 2100 USB mics.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So
I'm like partial to Audex though, like for vocal music stuff. I love Audex. They're just the fantastic sound that comes out of them.
when I was looking for my first good microphone, okay, I bought a condenser mic, which I still have. I've used it on the last few podcasts.
I've seen it.
It was like a $35 microphone. It was cheap, and I like it, but in my basement here in this environment, the condenser mic is a little too sensitive. It's because right through that wall I have my water heater, my furnace.
Yeah.
When that stuff kicks on, that mic picks it up so easily. Yeah. And I don't like that. You know what I mean? I have to edit that out then. There's been plenty of times I've had to cut out, 2 to 3 minutes of conversation because you hear in the background of my furnace running. You know what I mean? These mics don't do that.
Okay.
These are what's called dynamic microphones, which means they do not need power to work like a condenser mic does, so they're not going to be as sensitive.
Yeah, and they're unidirectional, meaning one direction.
These aren't actually. These
are
not
unidirectional.
No, they're not. They're
wow.
What do they call it? It's not like a figure 8 design, but it will pick up. It will pick up behind
around.
It. Yes, but it's very low. So it's I can't think of what it's called, man. I actually had the instructions for it sitting over there. You can check it out later. But
look it up.
Yeah, it has a certain way of picking up. But what makes it good is it only picks up within a radius of about a meter or so.
Okay.
So like if I sit way back like this,
still hear it, but it's not
right,
like...
and it's echoey and stuff. But if I'm within a foot, it sounds nice and clear.
Yeah.
So like where you've got the mic sitting, about 12 inches from your face right now?
Yeah, it's about there.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's coming through your headphones, right? Sounds really good.
Yeah.
So these mics in my environment for what I'm doing work better.
Yeah.
I looked these up. I found them on YouTube actually because I was looking for microphones and I had almost zero knowledge of microphones and how they work. I literally spent like a whole weekend once about a year ago just
doing research,
just researching microphones and learning. Like there were online courses about this type of mic versus this type of mic, ribbon microphones versus condenser microphones versus dynamic microphones versus this for that for different settings. Or when I say settings, I mean different places, you know what I mean? And I decided that, a good dynamic mic is something I need. And I found some reviews for these particular microphones. These are considered this microphone is the highest rated microphone on Amazon of any type.
They're pretty pricey.
Brand new, they're $75.
That's not bad at all.
And the best part of this microphone is it has an XLR output for a mixer, which is what we're using now. It also has a USB output.
Is this okay, I see what the check. I know
so
I know a little bit microphone.
Like you see I have a USB cord right here on my mic stand. And what I do is I can plug that into my mic and then run that directly to my computer. Because sometimes I just want to record straight to the computer and not to my mixer or to my recorder. It's good for that. On top of that, it has a heavy aluminum shell, so it can be dropped. Not that I want to drop them, but it's
the worst thing you can do to a microphone.
Bad thing to do. And then I bought these. It didn't come with these red foam balls, but I bought these for like $3 for $1 on Amazon.
Great.
Yeah. And I also have standard pop filters as well, but these mics with these foam balls.
Yeah, you don't need both of them. That's overkill.
Yeah, it's not too bad. For $75, I couldn't beat it. So I bought the one brand new, and then I really liked it. So a couple months later, I was on Craigslist one day, and somebody was selling one for $20. I was like, I'm getting it. So I called the guy. I'm like, you want to sell that mic? He's like, yeah. I'm like, does it work? He says, yeah. I was like, I'll be over. Guy lived in Washington, PA, which at the time, that's where I was working.
Oh, yeah.
So I just, after work one day, I ran over to the dude's house and bought the mic.
Well, I'm glad to. I mean, be honest with you, I know this is a passion of yours, so I'm so totally happy that you're.
Cool. Thanks.
You know, what I mean,
these mics are good for like stage audio too.
Yeah.
Not so much for recording guitars and stuff, but for vocals, they're rated pretty well for it.
Yeah. Like I said, like I'm like big into the Audex. I have an Audex that I used to record my guitar, and when we play we do rehearsals, I use the Audex for my vocals. I'm pretty selfish with it. I have I have a PV also. I don't know what the model numbers are, but usually Josh uses that one. And Tina just bought one for another Audex for Josh. So we have like total 3 mics right now.
Are those all dynamic mics? Like, do they look like this? Or are they long?
They look like this. I do have the other kind, and I bought it, and with the Phantom Power, I blew it up. Remember the first one I brought down here? First time I came down here
I
to
remember
record
you
a
brought
podcast.
Yeah.
I bought a microphone. You plugged it in, and it was zapped. It wasn't taking anything.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, it was it was just barely. It was barely getting any sound out of it.
Yeah, I think what I did is I blew it up. I really did. I think I put too much power in it, and it wasn't. I don't know.
When it comes to Phantom Power, just to explain for the audience, Phantom Power, basically certain microphones need power to work. And Phantom Power is a electric signal that your mixer puts out that pushes to the microphone to power your mic. There's 2 brands. There's 24 volt and there's 48 volt. Okay. The majority of Phantom microphones, or I should say condenser microphones, it's usually condensers that need the power, they run on 48 volts.
Really?
What may have happened was you probably had a microphone that was supposed to run on 24, and when you plugged it into a 48, it was too much power for it. It might have overloaded
I zapped it. I think the great thing is it wasn't really expensive, Mike. It was only $25.
Yeah, and my condenser mic, I only paid, I think, $35 for it. So they're you can get them cheap, and they sound good.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of sound quality I would have got out of that, but I was gonna actually use it for vocals and maybe recording a drum mic. A
mic like that is best served. It'll work great for vocals in a studio.
Yeah.
But not so much like on a stage.
Yeah.
But it works really good for recording instruments. Yeah. And that's because they'll pick up a much wider range of sound. Like I was saying, like my condenser picks up like my furnace in the other room.
Yeah.
That's what you want when you're recording a guitar, for example. You know what I mean? You want to get that ambient sound. You want to be able to get the punch from the amp as well as the surrounding sound.
I think what I want to do is get another one because we're going to experiment with Tina's kit next time. We want a better sounding kit. So this last 2 songs that we recorded with her kit, we only used 3 microphones. One for her snare, one for her bass, one for her crash and ride. And so we want to put another one in the room, like 5 feet away.
Yeah, to kind of record it all and all together as one sound.
Yeah, so I think that'd be great to use one of those type of mics and for that because it will just do the job really well.
Yeah, it should do the job well. For the bass drum, what kind of mic are you recording with?
Well, she has drum mics.
She has drum mics. Okay, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, because
she bought a specific drum mics. They're great. Mm-hmm. I do think that she lost one of her bass drum kick mic too. She just lost it. She just couldn't find it. She lost it in her house, so she had to
man.
She had to replace it. She's well. Good thing Aaron was making good money, so they
were able to do it.
Yeah. So, but we're looking. I think what's going on tomorrow. We're leading worship tomorrow at the New Beginnings Church in Monaca. And then we're going to go back and do some rehearsal, and I'm going to assist at that rehearsal that we're doing some recording.
Cool.
Instead of just tinkering around, I want to get some work done.
Yeah, you want to actually lay some tracks.
Yeah, I think we can spend I think this is going to be the last Saturday and Sunday weekend I'm going to have off for a while because they let somebody go at work, so I'm going to be pretty busy.
Picking up a little extra hours here and there and whatnot.
And yeah, when Josh got a new job, so he's gonna be pretty busy with that, and he just finished up school. So, but Aaron's coming home, so Aaron's gonna be working another job where he's gonna be getting up really early, so we can't be making too much noise and be considerate of him and their and Tina's family because that's where we rehearse.
Yeah, you'd play at her place, right?
Yeah. I mean, we could probably find maybe. My house is so small; it's no bigger than your living room and your kitchen together. So we, I guess, trying to set up in my house. We could do it, but it'd be super cramped, super tight.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be once in a while here and there. But Josh, I mean, he lives with his parents, so I don't think it'd be a good idea to. I love them to death. Berkfelds have always been really good to me. I met them through church. That's how I know Josh. I mean,
through going to church.
Yeah. Well, one day I was at well, I started going to Pathway Church, and they had a baseball team or softball team, and I signed up to play softball for some exercise and get to hang out with the fellow members of this church. And Teresa's his mom and is Josh's mom, and Mark, which is his dad, they were on that team, and got to know him through that. Then I met Josh about not even 4 months later, but he was really, really young. He's 22 right now, and I'm 40. So do the math. That was about 8-9 years ago. So he was like 12.
He was like 13, 14 years old.
Yeah,
or
he was
whatever.
really young. So, I mean, I remember first memories of Josh is he's also an actor too. He does acting. He does plays. He also wants to get into voice acting. So he's fantastic with the voices and stuff. And he's really good at it. He's always making fun of Adam Sandler and just doing, the voices that he does.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, he loves doing it. But on top of that, music too. On top of that, he plays bass and he plays guitar, and I just think he's a very talented man.
He sounds like a pretty cool guy that would be good for a podcast.
I asked him, actually, I did ask, I asked him and Tina if they wanted to come down tonight, and we could promote our band or whatever. But I mean, it's not about being promoted. It's just
about having fun and connecting and bullshitting. And
yeah, I think it would have been really cool to have the two of them here sitting beside me. And they wussed out me.
Well, here's the good thing. This video will be up on YouTube here by the end of the week. So just show them the video. And
let me tell you what, Josh and Tina, get your buns in this chair with me, please, next time. Right here.
Or maybe next year, kind of over there. Yeah.
On a Jeff Finch experiment.
The Jeff Finch experiment. Maybe they'll see this and they'll be like, hey, that does kind of look cool. Chuck's just sitting on the couch talking and drinking tea. It's nothing crazy.
Pierced by Nails, I have lots of hopes for our project. And
let me ask you about that. So you changed the name. That's fine. Did you change the name on YouTube yet? Because you can change the name on YouTube without opening a new channel.
Yeah, well, YouTube, I'm still working on it. The specifics are, there's old songs that I recorded, one with you years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and there's new stuff. So I'm going to sit down with those two, and we're going to have to make decisions like what songs are Pierced by Nails, what is Fear for Faith, and what is Martin Band stuff.
Yeah.
So Fear for Faith was me and Lisa, and then you helped out on a recording.
Yeah.
It was the Head Down was a song that you played, and then we did another acoustic tune just for the fun of it. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that was old
And they turned
school.
out good. I liked those recordings.
Yeah,
I still have them on my iTunes, and they still come up once in a while on shuffle.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's old, and I felt like God was changing my heart and pulling me towards to serving Him. And some of the music was geared towards secular, I guess you could say. So now the new stuff is more geared to Christian rock and worship. So I don't know. I guess that's why we wanted to change the name. And the old stuff, we've got to determine which songs are Pierced by Nails and what songs are Fear for Faith. And that's basically why I haven't really gone through too much and just change everything. But when it comes to the Facebook one here, they wouldn't let me. The Martin Band page, they would not let me change it.
Yeah, you can't change a name on Facebook for they call it a business page. It's quote pages is what they call it. Yeah, I was recently trying to change mine as well, and it wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
So I'm stuck with it, but I don't really mind. I mean, it's not a big deal. Not for me anyway. For you, it is because you changed the name of the band.
Well, what's going to go is eventually you'll see everyone transferring. I'm going to literally slowly doing this. Everything's going to be starting to slowly transfer over to the Pierced by Nails page, and the Martin Band Project page will be
eventually just be axed.
Gone. So, but I got to want to get all. See, the problem is I already have 40 people hooked on to that page.
Yeah.
And trying to get 40 people to
move
click
over
on
to
click
the other one, yeah.
It's confusing to people.
Whenever I started the podcast, I should have started a page, but I started a group on Facebook.
Really?
And I got like 400 something people on it.
Oh yeah.
And a couple months ago, I decided, hey, I'm going to do a page as opposed to a group because there's a lot more advantages to doing a page. You can advertise it and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
and I invited absolutely everybody that was a member in that group, and only 60 something people so far have liked it.
Yeah. I think
that kind of sucks because
people get confused. They get confused. They don't
Yeah.
know it, and that's the social media monster. How it is. It's just the way it is. People like something, they're not going to go out of their way to click
exactly
everything on it. Like, I already signed up for this. Why do I need to sign up for again?
Right. Well, the thing is, then if you ignore the old page, people will just forget, and that's what really sucks.
Yeah.
So, anyway, what I suggest, and I have a kind of a selfish reason for suggesting this, Chuck. I suggest you just change the name of the YouTube channel to the new band name, to Pierce Nails.
Yeah,
only because that way I can link
that?
it on this video. And
can you do that?
Yeah, whenever we're done here, I'll log on YouTube on your thing real quick, and I'll show you how to do it.
I think I remember my password. I have it written down at home.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If you don't remember the password, we can't do it.
I can do it on my cell phone. I
don't know if you can on the phone.
If I had my iPad with me, we could do it. I didn't bring it.
I'm pretty sure you can't change the name through the app. You have to do it through the website.
Oh.
I think it's one of those things because they don't want people finding somebody's phone on the street and messing with their YouTube stuff.
Oh.
There's a lot of stuff you can't do on YouTube.
Yeah, I've been finding that out really.
Yeah.
They had last winter. They had problems with like just putting your banner up on YouTube.
Yes.
They were having major problems with
that. They were having all kinds of issues. YouTube in the last 6 months has really been effing up.
And I think they also have been working. Google's been working on it like mad though for the apps.
Well, yeah, because I don't know if you know this, but YouTube, a lot of their advertisers pulled out a month or so ago.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
A lot of them. And it's
you're seeing a lot of car commercials now on it, too. Did you notice that?
That's because they have less people advertising, so in order to stretch those advertisements to all the videos that they used to stretch them to, you're going to start seeing less and less amounts, I should say less and less different ads. You're going to start seeing the same ad on every single video. Or the same few ads. And there was a big issue because one of the biggest YouTuber made a video where he pretended to be Hitler, and it really pissed people off. And the advertisers were like, "Nope, we don't want our ads on this guy's video."
Yeah.
And he's the biggest guy. His name is PewDiePie. He is the biggest YouTuber. He has like 60 million subscribers or something like that.
Is it so? Like, there's, I'm gonna say the obvious. What I'm trying to get from what I understand, what you're trying to say is, I'm gonna repeat the obvious of what you just said. You're saying this guy is it. I mean, there's no other guy higher than him. It has most subscriptions.
In terms of subs, views, and money made from YouTube advertising, he's the top guy.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
So there's millions of other people making a lot of money.
He's making money off of it.
He made like $15 million last year off of YouTube alone, just off of ads. That's ridiculous.
You know what's funny though? Like, a lot of people start doing these YouTube things, and they're just doing it for fun, and then you got these people that are major. They can be considered conglomerates now.
There's a lot of YouTubers who make extremely high quality things, like network quality stuff, and some of it's amazing, like really great stuff, even kids stuff.
Do you think that those people, not all of them, make money though?
Oh, they all do.
They all do?
Of course. If they're putting that kind of time and effort to make that sort of high quality videos on YouTube, you better believe they're making money off of it.
I think there's one that I think I know. I kind of like his station, but I gotta say this. I know this is coming from me. This is what my background is. He's got a potty mouth. He's got,
that's a popular thing on YouTube.
It's gotten out of hand. I hear that
who is it?
Nerd Cubed.
Nerd Cubed?
You're Nerd Cubed. You can look him up. He does gaming, and it's comedy, and it's actually funny. There's times it's funny.
Oh yeah.
But what he got me hooked on was Planet Coaster. If it wasn't for his station, I wouldn't have known about it. What it is the throwback to the old Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah, I remember those games.
Those games are so much fun.
I loved them. I had
the third one, Roller Coaster Tycoon. I love it. It's like one of my top 10 games. Okay, so this Planet Coaster game blows that game out of the water with graphics, what you can do, the ads on, the decorations, everything, and how the looks of the game and feel of the game, and the missions and what you can do. It just Oh,
So
it's fantastic.
does he just play the game? He does like Let's Play where he plays it and talks while he's playing, pretty much.
He built his park, and he just has comedy ways. He's from UK.
That's one of the biggest genres on YouTube is the Let's Players.
Yeah,
I've dabbled in it myself. I've done a little bit of Let's Play here because I got.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to mess with that a little bit.
We could totally play some Mario Kart here in a little bit if you want.
Okay, that'd be cool. It's really neat though. I like
awesome.
to try that out.
And I have a card that lets me record.
You know what was really cool, Jeff, about that? The cartridges are no bigger than an SD card.
Yeah, they're just slightly bigger than an SD card.
It's so cool because you remember when we grew up, those games they were this big.
Well, before our time, even like in the early '80s, when it wasn't Commodore 64. Commodore had big cartridges too. There was a computer that had this cartridge. There's a guy I follow called 8-bit guy on YouTube, and he does nothing but tear apart and talk about old technology. And he had some video game computer system that was pre-Commodore that had these cartridges that were twice the size of a VHS video.
Was Commodore before an Atari?
They were all about the same time.
Is it the same company?
No. They were different companies.
Okay, so because I know Steve Jobs was involved in Atari in a way, one way or another, I do believe.
I'm pretty sure Steve Jobs didn't have anything to do with Atari.
Or wait, no, it was the Wall. What's his name? The other guy is the Wolowitz.
Oh, Wozniak. Steve Wozniak.
Wozniak. Yeah, he was actually a part of the Atari group at one time.
That's possible. Maybe
I do believe
because
I remember seeing a documentary on Apple. But okay, well, that's a fact checker.
Yeah, we'll have to look that one up.
Fact checker.
I can't remember where we were going. Oh, we were talking about YouTube and stuff.
Capcom video games. You were on video games.
Yeah. We were talking about video gaming is a huge thing on YouTube. And that PewDiePie, the #1 YouTuber in the world, that's how he got his start. He was playing video games online and doing commentary over the games. And yeah, he had a potty mouth and yelled and screamed and threw fits and stuff, but that's what people want to watch. That's what people who are watching video games like to see. I watch video game stuff, not all the time on YouTube, but I watch a decent amount here and there. Once or twice a week, I'll turn on a video game video and watch it. But I don't like the guys that are like that.
Yeah, I mean,
I like to watch the guys who are funny, but not over the top.
You don't need to tell penis and vagina jokes. You do not need to be screaming at the camera. That's not funny to me.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Tell jokes that are actually funny.
I like guys that when there's a funny situation on the game, they make light of it and talk about it. And it doesn't bother me if somebody swears here and there. Yeah. And dude, we've all done it. I mean, how many times have you played Mario Brothers and fell in a pit and you're like, I mean, we all do it.
Yeah.
But like what you're saying, it's if he's telling dick jokes and stuff, that gets old after a while. Like,
it's not fun. Even the stand-up comedy guys that I've seen in the past, they're not funny. The only guy that I thought actually was funny when he's told a couple of them was Robin Williams. But that man was different. That man's talented.
Yeah, Robin Williams is pretty much the best of the best.
Yeah, he was top notch.
He's one of my all-time favorites.
Nick Lewis will definitely argue that to the day he dies. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, okay.
Too,
but I guess video games, you can go like I have my top 10 too. I mean, I've been playing lately a lot of the Lego games, but here's the thing: I only have a Wii system. I don't have the newer systems. I don't have the money for it.
Which Lego games are you playing?
I am playing all of them that ever was on PS2 and Wii.
I had a couple Lego games for the Wii. I had Lego Star Wars.
I have that one. I beat that one.
I had one of the Lego Harry Potter games.
I think
both it was Order of the Phoenix is the one I had, or something.
I have
like
both
that.
Of them.
But I didn't like it. I didn't like the Lego games then. But those games are like 10 years old.
Yeah.
There are newer ones now that are supposed to be great. There's a new one.
The Xboxes, they're on the Xbox.
They're
right?
on everything. Everything has Lego games.
Yeah. I mean, I played the Jurassic Park one. It's really cool, but they're making them more difficult. Like, the puzzles are more difficult. Like, do this, do that. So I only got the chance to play it for like 10, 15 minutes because it's in the store at GameStop And I was like, let me see. Oh, cool. Let me play it for a little bit. The graphics are fantastic.
Yeah, they look really great now.
I mean, it looks like a piece of plastic. The characters look like a piece of plastic, but they talk. You know what I mean?
They're like
they
animated actual Lego toys.
Toys, action heroes. And it's so cool. It's just really cool.
The newest Lego game that's supposed to be great, it's actually been out for a couple of years, but they re-released it on the Nintendo Switch a couple weeks ago. It's called Lego City Undercover.
Oh, I never really got into the city ones, but I've played a little bit of it. Scott, my best friend Scott, who I've known since 3rd grade, his son is into Legos. So, and he's also into Lego games. He had the Lego City game, and I played it for a little bit. I guess I'm into the superhero ones more. I grew up watching Star Wars, and I grew up watching the Batman, the Supermans. And
the city games are more like sandbox games, like open world. You go in, and then there'll be like things to do and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Well,
whereas the superhero games are following the story of Star Wars or
that's
whatever.
That's what that Lord of the Rings one is, right? It's more open world. If you actually go into, I thought that was pretty amazing. But the game's glitchy. Got a lot of glitches in it.
Which game is this?
The Lord of the Rings, the Lego Lord of the Rings.
I haven't
for
played
Wii.
it.
Yeah. Do you have a Wii?
I have a Wii U, so yeah, I can play Wii games on it.
I can't. I wish you could actually. I could loan it to you.
Well, you could. Like, my Wii U, I have it. It's sitting over there. It actually plays Wii games.
When you start, you're actually in the world. Lego world of Lord of the
Middle
Rings.
Earth. Yeah,
you're in Middle Earth. You can walk the whole thing, the whole Middle Earth.
Nice.
But there's missions that you have to walk to. Later on in the game, they make it easier to go from point A to point B.
Right.
But it's like you're starting off at the Fellowship of the Ring, and then progressing through the 3 movies to Middle Earth. So when you're actually Frodo is like the main character.
Right.
You start off with them. You go to the elves, and then you join in with the other guys, and you meet the characters.
So it pretty much kind of follows the movie.
It follows the movie perfectly, but you start at the Middle Earth, and you walk around. That's considered free, right? What did you say? It was
sandbox. They call
a sandbox,
like an open world sandbox.
Open world. Game. It was an open world kind of thing. I thought it was so cool.
And
I'm not really into like Link or versions of Link because I can't stand Link. I know you love Link. I'm so sorry.
We are not friends anymore.
I think what it is because Link takes forever, and I'm kind of the guy that needs satisfaction right now.
I can't.
That's why the Lego games are so perfect for me because you have to get. It's kind of built like Mario, the old Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
When you go left to right.
Mm-hmm.
Or front to back or whatever, like what you're seeing at the games, and there's an end point.
I am going to show you some of the games I have on the Switch, and I'm going to blow your mind.
I love playing.
Some of these games that are out now are amazing, and the Switch has been so good with getting some good games.
Yeah, I hear a lot of good reviews. I mean, I wish I had the $500 or what it is to buy one. But
it's $300.
Well, 300. Okay.
Whenever they announced it back in October, I immediately told my wife, I was like, I'm putting some money in our savings account, and I'm going to keep adding to it. And then in March, when this comes out, I'm going to buy it.
She played with you?
No.
So that's your little toy.
That's my. This is what I do when she's not around. I can play video games.
Some kill time.
She doesn't like to play. She just doesn't. And there are certain games. Over the years, we've played a couple video games together here and there. Like we used to play some Mario Kart, which is a fun racing game. We've played like Crash Bandicoot and stuff together. Yeah. But the issue is that she's not very good at video games, and I'm very good at video games. And she feels like whenever we play that
she's gonna lose.
I'm just too good.
Well, don't feel bad. It's Ashley, right?
Yeah.
I'm bad. I told you I'm bad with names.
It's okay. She's only been around me for like 10 years. So.
Well, I'm Ashley, don't feel bad. My wife is just the same. My wife, Rock, she has cerebral palsy, okay? So she has problem with coordination. So, and
yeah, video games are tough if you're not coordinated.
Yeah, it's kind of like a right-left kind of brain thing.
The good thing about Ashley, though, is that she doesn't mind she knows that I play video games. When we first got together, I made it very clear to her that, like, Video games is one of my passions. Like,
Yeah.
if you can't stand to hear me play the guitar, or you can't stand to hear me play video games, then we can't be together.
Well, that's
Because those are the
that's
two things I love the most.
That's the same thing with the guitar, the music, my music and guitar. And my wife, I mean, God love her, she puts up with me 3 o'clock in the morning in the computer room, strumming my acoustic and making noise. And I don't know how she sleeps.
Well, it sounds like she takes a lot of sleeping pills to help her with that.
Yeah, well,
Maybe it ain't the snoring, Chuck.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's my guitar playing. But I mean, she puts out with me. I love her to death, man. Yeah, we've been together. And probably when you come out with this or you finish this, our anniversary is on the 17th.
Yeah, that's this weekend coming, or next. No. This will be finished before then. What's today? Today's a 6, so like about 11 days, about a week and a half from now.
Yeah. So
how long have you? How long?
9 years.
You've been married for 9 years.
9 years.
That's just a little bit longer than I've been married. I think you got married the same year I got married, 2008, right?
Yeah. Well, Raquel and I, we've known each other since high school.
Right. You told me that. Like, you knew each other back then, and then didn't see each other for a long time.
Raquel and I were engaged out of high school, and Raquel and I, were young, stupid kids, and that's plain and simple. There's no way.
We've all been there.
So, with that thought, we were engaged, and she broke it off because she thought I was cheating on her, which was totally a lie.
Okay.
But I don't know how it came about. But every time I'd run into her through the years for 10 years straight, I would run into her like at my mom's place. She lived down the street or whatever, and she'd be walking across the road, and I'm like, "Hello, do you want to ride?" She'd stick her nose right up in the air and keep on walking. She knew who I was, It's not, So I mean, she was so angry, and so. Well, my wife can hold a grudge for 10 years straight. She did it.
I think all women can hold grudges. That's like a thing of being a woman.
Yeah. So anywho, I was going to church and at Pathway Church, and I was serving in choir, and I do believe her aunt saw me in the choir, like, wow, that kid's changed so much, and blah blah blah. So women talk. Told her cousin Summer, and Raquel's like, and Summer's like, hey, there's this guy I want you to meet. She called me up out of the blue and said, hey, would you like to meet up with Raquel? Thinking she's going to try to set us up again. And I was so leery. I was like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, after all that pain, because I was still in love with her. I'm 10 years later, I'm still in love with this woman. And all the pain, that heartache of losing her before, I had a lot of grudges too myself, and it was a little rough. So I was like, yeah, sure, we'll just sit around. So I brought all the old memorabilia we had from high school, all the pictures and stuff. I thought it'd be cool to show her. And so we met up in the park in Beaver Falls and started talking, and
the rest is history.
Started dating, and 2 years later we got married. I do believe, you serve God, he blesses you with stuff like that. So
we'll leave it on that. That's a good way to end the podcast. We've been doing this for over an hour now. Did you realize that?
Yeah, every time it goes fast. It's always a blessing.
Chuck, thanks for joining us. This was a lot of fun.
God bless.
I look forward to doing it again next time.
All right, man.
Plug your band real quick for everybody.
Pierced by Nails, man. Just checking us out on YouTube. It's going to be changed over here pretty soon, and Facebook too. So, cool. and all the people who actually were listening or listening to this podcast or liked on Facebook, we're switching over. So, do that. Click that button. Subscribe.
I will put links. There will be a link on the screen. Yeah, up in that corner somewhere.
Subscribe to this man over here. This man's over here.
If they're listening to this, they're probably already subscribed.
Oh, it doesn't matter. You get new guys. I mean, come on, man.
All right. Well, hey, thanks. This was fun.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please be sure to hit the thumbs up below. That helps me out. Also, subscribe to my channel and make sure to hit the little bell icon so you can be notified of all of our upcoming videos. Thanks a lot.